Hey there, Timothy Roberts here. In this video, I'm going to show you my new power hammer. I'm going to talk a little bit about the first week of having this thing installed, using it. I think at this point I've officially hammered the shape on about 30 cymbals, and it's been quite a learning experience. And I'm going to show you actually hammering on this blank right here, just so you can see the thing in action, and talk a little bit more about some exciting things that are coming up in the near future. For the last few weeks, I've been figuring out how to get this thing installed. I needed to essentially cut out the concrete and pour a new foundation, an isolated foundation with isolating rubber all the way around it so that it didn't translate to the rest of the concrete floor in my shop, possibly crack it. It's a very heavy machine, very powerful machine, and it took a little while to get that all squared away and let the cement do its curing. But I've had this machine up and running for about a week now, and like I said, I've hammered about 25, 30 cymbals on it, and it's been quite a learning experience, but I'm starting to get the hang of how it works. So essentially this machine, what you can see in frame right now, is just, you know, the main portion of it, the good part, the interesting part, where you'll see me hammer a cymbal in just a minute. But down here it has a foot pedal, a treadle, that allows me to, I press down that pedal and it basically takes a little tilt adjustment thing that has a motor on it, and it tilts that motor up into the tire that's up here. That tire then spins, which takes this apparatus and basically lifts and drops the weight of the hammer onto what you're hammering. So most of these machines are used in blacksmithing shops, and so this is designed and built for blacksmiths. But Nick had these special dies, hammer and anvil dies, cast for using on bronze, because it's slightly different with bronze, because this is a very powerful machine. Basically, if I open that pedal wide open, it throws all the force of the 60 pounds of this hammer. It requires quite a bit of finesse, so it's not simple as, oh, just turn it on and it does its thing. It's as difficult, if not more difficult in some ways, than hand hammering. So I'm going to get this thing all oiled up. I'm going to turn it on, and then I'm going to hammer on this 21-inch blank that I am going to need for the Nashville drum show coming up in a little while. So let's get on it. All right, so as you can see, give myself circles all the way around on the top. I've caused the shape to taco a little bit, and so at this point I'm going to flip it over and do the underside, but I'm going to go over and kind of try to bend it back into the shape of a typical cymbal. That's going to help maybe give it a little bit more of an even surface, because I have to be adjusting this way all while I'm adjusting with my foot how much force I have on the treadle. So yeah, not easy, but fun. All right, so what I did on the underside, if you could see, I kind of went in between the lines I did from the top side. And so I'm kind of doing this over, under thing, and that's gonna give me my kind of my basic structure. But now I've basically done all the work on the bottom that I wanna do, and at this point I'm going in on the top, and I'm just gonna work this section here and build it out so that I can pull this center section up into a nice strong shape. Right now it's very, very low. So at this point, I'm gonna go in, like I said, work that section around one time, and then I'll check out where it's at. And then from that point, I head over to the anvil and I do hand hammering to iron out the shape and get it where I want it to be. All right, so at this point, I've basically given myself the ability for this cymbal to have a profile and the tendency towards upwards trajectory. And what I want to do now is head over to the anvil and do some hand hammering. But I am going to do one more thing. I'm going to go in on the bottom, and at the very edge, I'm going to do one more ring around the edge to crimp that bottom part, because I'm going to want this cymbal to have a bit of a hook at the edge for the type of cymbal that it's going to be. So. All right, so now that that is done, hand hammering. I haven't quite gotten the control over this machine to really make sure I can have the right kind of shape just straight from the hammer. But I also I don't want that to be a staple of my cymbals. I don't want them to be fully machine hammered, because I want the human element of my arm and a hammer getting that kind of thing imbued into the metal, because I'm able to really look at the little intricacies of where the bumps and lumps are, and I'm able to really dial in exactly where I want the strikes to go, the exact right amount of force that I want. All of that is much more controllable with my arm, because I've been doing it this way for years now, and I've only had this thing for a week now. So. All right. It is so hot and humid in North Carolina this week. It's nuts. Outside is 101. Humidity is like 95%. So I usually have my fans on, which helps. But for the sake of the sound and you being able to hear my voice, I have the fans off. So you won't be able to tell, but I am sweating profusely. But that has gotten me where I want to be for the initial shaping of this cymbal. So this is going to help me in tremendous ways. The major way is actually to be able to come up with different lines that hit different price points. So up until this point, 100% handmade cymbals, obviously they take way longer, they take way more skill, and many years and years of practice and study to get the technique needed to produce cymbals at a high quality. So now that I have this machine, it's going to allow me to produce cymbals faster, which also allows me to produce different lines that have different price points. And so keep an eye out for that. We're going to have a big announcement in the very near future about the future of Reverie drums, Timothy Roberts cymbals, stackering percussion, and some reorganizing of some things that I'm very excited to share about. But I wanted to give you this little insight into my first week using this machine. It is not the only machine I want to get. There are others that I want to get as well that are going to help in the manufacturing process. And in other videos, I've talked about the difference between handmade cymbals and machine-made cymbals. And what I've said is machine-made cymbals tend to sound brighter and cleaner because they use presses to press the profile, and the machine hammering is much more minimal. So when a fully hand-hammered cymbal has way more compression points, which is just making the cymbal darker and more complex sounding, to oversimplify. But with this machine, I'm still having to build the entire shape. So in a way, it's really getting me fairly close to the sound of a handmade cymbal entirely. And that is that's going to be evident when I start actually putting videos out of the cymbals that I've made using this hammer. But the ones I've made so far, I really can't tell a difference between the sounds I get with a fully hand-hammered process and with this machine. So there's going to be no dip in quality, no dip in the type of sound that I get. I really have a very specific sound in my mind that I'm going for, and I'll still be able to achieve that with this new machine. So exciting things coming in the world of Reverie. I wanted to give you a little insight into this. There's going to be a lot more videos of me using this hammer because it's just so freaking cool. And I'm going to be getting different heads for it, different shaped heads for different types of impressions. The only one I have that I'm using is very wide. And what it's allowing me to do is it's allowing me to get the compression and deformation work happening at the same time. I talk about that in other videos, but compression is really about growing the shape, and deformation is really about moving metal fast. So usually you use a small pointed hammer with a lot of weight to really move metal fast, and then you use a wide face hammer which spreads out the force, and it's a slower, more methodical growth of the metal. This machine is doing both kind of at the same time. It's compressing the metal, but it's also really moving things fast. And just before I sign off, I want to let you know this video is going to get posted. And when it's posted, I will be in Brazil because I'm visiting the Domene factory in Reverie, Brazil. Domene is there. The company is amazing, and Francisco is an amazing guy, a total master at cymbal making. He graciously invited me and my apprentice to come to Reverie to see the foundry, and we're going to work in the foundry for a full week. So when this drops on the Friday that it drops, I will have been in Brazil for almost a full week at that time, learning and using some of his machinery there. So a lot of exciting things coming, and I really appreciate you guys for following along. Please drop a comment and let me know what you think of this new machine. Let me know what you think about the difference between handmade and machine-made cymbals. Drop any questions that you might have. I'll be happy to answer. And until next time, we'll see you guys soon. I'm Timothy Roberts.